Evening. I wanted to thank all of you for coming tonight. I'm Kathy Collins, Director of Member Resources for Staying Put in New Canaan. And before we get started, I just want to recognize a few of the people that I work with. Nicola Holtzberger, Director of Member Services, who's carrying chairs for audience members, and Barb Achenbaum, our Executive Director, working hard in the background. I'd also like to give a shout out to a few of our board of directors, Kathy Pasternak, Kathy Irwin, Sue Scannell, and Priscilla Thomas, who are all here this evening supporting this effort of ours. Thank you all for coming. And I wanted to also thank Sandy Graff, I just want to get the title correctly, VP and Branch Manager for the People's United Bank in New Canaan. And Sandy, you've been there for 20 years. Okay, so she's representing them this evening. And in addition, we have this terrific panel. But before I get to them, I just wanted to give a shout out also to Donna Simone, who had been the Assistant Director at Staying Put for 10 years, was one of the originals starting it up. Thanks for coming. Also want to thank all of you for being here this evening. I do hope that you walk away with some information that is either important and helpful to you or to a family member or a loved one. So I'll get started. We have a distinguished panel this evening who has a lot of experience dealing with elder fraud and scams, and I'm sure will help you to get some good ideas of how to make sure you're not a victim or that someone you love is not a victim of this. We have Angela DeLeon. Angela works for People's United Bank. She's a nationally recognized expert in crime prevention for older adults and the 2010 recipient of the Federal Bureau of Investigation's Director's Community Leadership Award for assisting the FBI and local law enforcement in making communities safer. She's also the originator and coordinator of People's United Bank's Master's Program, a nationally recognized program for its leadership in initiating crime prevention and awareness programs for elders. In addition, Angela initiated the nationally recognized File of Life program and the Yellow Dot program. For those of you who are not familiar with those, they're programs that provide information to first responders. And it's especially helpful when someone is not able to speak for themselves. Do you want to just hold up the yellow dot for a second, Angela? So basically, this is something you would put on your car, and if you were ever in a car accident and a first responder saw that, they would know that you had information for them in your glove compartment listing medications, doctors, any sort of chronic illnesses that you might have that you would think would be important for them to know about. And the File for Life program.
And also, if you would like one of these, go and see Sandy at our branch.
The File for Life program is another program for first responders, and that's something where you would have a red magnet, and inside would be medical information, and you could put that either by your phone in the kitchen or on your fridge. And you could see Sandy for those as well. Anyway, next up is going to be Officer Thomas Patton. He's an 18-year veteran of the New Canaan Police Department and the recipient of a 2015 Unit Citation Award for investigative work. Tom has worked with the investigations section for 3 years and has investigated burglaries, larcenies, auto theft, bank fraud, and identity theft. Tom has also worked with Pete Stair and other community members to raise awareness of elder fraud, scams, and prevention. Next up is Pete Stair, who many of you may already know. I saw someone clapping there. Pete's a longtime resident of New Canaan, and he was recognized as the Men's Club of New Canaan's 2014 Distinguished New Canaan Man. Pete's a man of many talents. He's a licensed sightseeing guide in New York City, hosting trips to venues such as the Tenements Museum and Manhattan's Upper West Side. He was also the co-developer of the original town website and leads the Lapham Webmasters. In addition, he's taught several programs on computers and internet usage and is active as a member of the Lapham PC Doctors. Pete's a very knowledgeable and dedicated advocate for older adults, and as a trained AARP volunteer advocate, he's presented numerous panels throughout the state to help others to learn about these scams and how to avoid them. So before we get started, I just wanted to say thank the New Canaan Library and Crystal Chumney for helping us co-host this event, and we'll start with the panelists giving you a little background, telling you some stories, giving you some suggestions on how to prevent yourself from being a fraud victim or a loved one, and then we'll turn it over to questions and answers. So we'll get started.
Go?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you all for coming on this beautiful, beautiful evening. First, we're going to start with computer scams. I live in an over 55 community, and I have to tell you, we are getting clobbered with people calling and saying that our computers are broken and that they are calling us to help us to fix our computers. And they are actually so convincing that they have actually convinced two of my friends. Both of them are psychologists, very intelligent women, and both of them fell for this scam. I just recently, one of my friends who fell for this scam, she had to have her computer completely cleaned, which of course cost her a fortune. She then had to change her telephone number, her cell phone number, and her landline, and also get her checking account changed and her savings account, because they actually got into her computer and got all her information. And I am going to turn this over right now to talk to you about this scam to Officer Patton.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for coming. In New Canaan, we're seeing all types of frauds and scams. For 2017, we had 25 identity theft complaints and 53 fraud complaints. In 2018, we've had 20 ID theft complaints already and 43. Now, a combination of this is people coming out and reporting them more frequently now, but it's also on the rise. One of the scams is this computer takeover scam. We have had several of these occur in town. One New Canaan resident, their computer was hacked. They had the computer taken over, and the callers were very effective and coerced the victim to pay in the form of gift cards for a substantial amount of money, over $20,000. So this actually occurred here in New Canaan, and it's a very real scam that is occurring that everybody needs to be aware of. No one should ever pay. Gift cards is not any form of legitimate payment to anybody, so that should be a number one red flag if on the phone or through email or anything somebody's requesting payment through gift cards. That's just number one red flag. There's something, it's a scam. There was also money that was wired as well from the victim, and once it's wired, it's gone. What they do with the gift cards is they ask you to purchase the gift cards, scratch the back of the cards, and read to them the number, because now they can then use that number to make whatever kind of purchases that they want to make, and at that point, it's gone. It's essentially you're just handing over cash. So the computer takeover scam is a very real scam that's occurring here in town. I would say one of the answers to that would be if you're using your computer and then you're notified by someone on the computer, power it off and talk to family or friends or somebody that can then assist you with what to do next. If they are to contact you and say they're from, a computer repair, if you didn't call them for help, then don't give them any information whatsoever. The other kind of scams that are going on, and did you have one with the grandparent scam?
Real tough time with this one. The grandparent scam. Now, I know you've probably all heard about the grandparent scam, correct? Okay. Every crime prevention program talks about the grandparent scam, but they're getting smart. The con artists are getting smart. And, you know, con stands for confidence. So they're gaining your confidence. And it's not only that your grandchild has just gone to Canada on a road trip with some friends from school and was stopped at the border because there were drugs in the car, and that's the usual scam, okay? But now what they're doing is they're saying that it could be your son-in-law, daughter-in-law, whatever, who have been in an accident and they had a rental car, and the rental car was towed away, and their wallet was left in the car. They need money to get home. They're possibly in another state or another country. And they will call you, and they know you by name, okay? They also know all the names of your family. Now, many times, you are the person who gave them that information. And you may have given them that information a year ago. And it could be just a benign call that you got on the phone that said, you know, we're doing a survey in your area. Could you tell me, do you have any grandchildren that are in college or whatever? And, you know, just because you haven't talked to anybody all day, they seem nice, you just talk a little bit. The longer you stay on the phone with a scam artist, the easier it is for them to get into your pocket. So, one, if you don't know who you're talking to and you haven't really initiated the call, hang up the phone. What we're going to give you tonight is permission to be rude. I know we grew up in a totally different time, okay? You know, when we were nice to people, people called up and we talked to them. You know, people came to our door. We opened the door. You can't do that anymore. So anyway, and you're wondering to yourself after, you know, hopefully it didn't get scammed, but after the phone call, how the heck did they know all this about me? Well, one, you could have given it to them a long time ago, and they sell the information to other people, okay? So you go on what's called, and it's sad, a sucker list. And they sell your name and your information to someone else for some money, whatever, and then that person in a year or 6 months or whatever calls you. And they have all the information on you. If what information they don't have, they can get off the computer. They can get on the internet. They've got a lot of information on you. So be very, very careful. If someone calls you, you don't know who they are, hang up the phone. Please be rude.
Along with some of the other scams, with the computer takeover scam and some of the IRS scams, these callers, they tend to become very hostile with you. And if there's any agency that's legitimate that's going to be contacting you, or anybody that's looking for your business, they're not going to become hostile. If they're a legitimate entity, they're going to take their time. They're going to answer any of the questions that you have. So one of the things that I suggest is if you get a phone call, if you're on the phone with them, if you haven't hung up yet, ask as many questions as possible. Just ask questions. If they're not legitimate, they're going to probably start getting frustrated. And/or they might end up hanging up on you because they're going to realize, all right, I'm not getting through. You know, they're not an easy target. So just ask questions. Who is it that I'm speaking with? Can you spell your name? Can you give me your phone number? How did you get my information? You know, why are you calling me? Just ask as many questions as possible, get as much information as you possibly can without giving away any information. Another scam, like I said, is the IRS scam. Chances are the IRS is probably not calling you. If the
Never.
IRS wants to get in touch with you or there's an issue with your taxes, you're going to know about it. And it's not going to be from some automated phone message that they're leaving on your answering machine. We have had the grandchild and also the child calls where they pretend to be your grandchild in trouble, and what the success with that is they're getting your emotions, they're getting you, you know, concerned, and you're you're
Your heart is talking.
yeah. So they just get your emotions racing to the point where you're just going to start giving them information. If you were to get a call like that, verify, call another family member, find out where is your grandchild, where is your child or your other family member. And if it is an emergency, you have the information, you can contact them back. So just try to slow things down, get further information, and without giving away any information.
Another thing is, where do they get the information from? Okay? And this is something, you know, we have tell a friend flyers. We really want you to tell your friends what you've learned tonight, and hopefully you've learned a lot. But where they get a lot of information, and these are bad people, okay? They get information from the obituaries. Have you ever looked at an obituary and seen everything that's on there? It tells a whole story of a family. It's not only the person who has passed away that you are, you know, giving tribute to. It's everybody in the family. Mary Beth and her husband Bill, okay? One of our customers came into the bank and told me a story, and she said, Angela, please pass this on. And she had received a phone call at home from someone that she thought was her son-in-law. And he was supposedly in an accident in England. And he said, you know, Mom, this is Bill. And she said, Bill, it doesn't sound like you. And he said, well, I was in an accident, broke my nose. I'm in England, you know, I'm on a business trip. And I was in a rental car. They towed the rental car away. My wallet was in the car. I have no money, no way of getting back to the States. Mary Beth is going to be petrified if she knows this. Please do not call her. Common denominator, they don't want you to call anybody, okay? Even if it's, you know, a grandchild, it's like, don't tell anybody. Well, anyway, she said, Bill, you know, when Dad died, they locked all the accounts, so I can't send you any money, and I'm really sorry. And she hung up because she really felt as though it was a scam. And it was. And she wanted me to pass this information on to you. But that's something that can happen. But where did they get that information from? They got it from the obituary. They had information about where her husband went to school, what church they went to, all their kids' names, their grandchildren's names. They could have gone on and really conned her. So,
You know, this is their job. This is what they do day in and day out, so they get very good at it. They have a lot of practice, and they sit at a desk with a phone, just making calls upon calls and just getting better at their craft. So they really do a good job of tricking people, and it's not just seniors. It's all across the ages. This is a major problem all throughout, but they do definitely target seniors. That is definitely what we're seeing here in New Canaan as well.
We're going to hold off till the end, thank you.
If I can just say one other thing that we've seen here in New Canaan is distraction burglaries. It's also in the other area towns as well, where somebody comes to your door and they're offering a service, or they're, a chimney, there's something wrong with your chimney, or they can clean your gutters. What they're looking to do is distract you, maintain you at the front door or wherever it might be, while their partner is either going in a back door, or if if you let them inside to go look at the furnace or something, somebody else then enters and then goes and steals. So if you didn't call anybody to your home, if you didn't call a service or a repairman, somebody shows up at your door, no matter how good of a deal it might be, don't let them in. Get information. Sometimes there are legitimate people going around, but if you didn't call them, then do not let them in your house. Ask for the information and say, great, I will look into it and I'll give you a call back. And then schedule with them. And if you can, have somebody else there that's with you while they're there to do the work.
The other thing is talk to them through a closed door. Make sure that that screen door or storm door is locked when you're talking to them. Do not have that door open, because they can push that door open and get right into your house. And they can do bodily harm to you. So, and the other thing is, we don't want to scare you to death tonight, okay? We want you to sleep like babies, because, what? Oh, I thought you were talking to us. We don't want to scare you. We want you to understand that what we're doing tonight is we're arming you with the weapon of awareness. Very similar to when you were a child and your mother said to you, don't go near the stove because the stove is hot. Doesn't mean you never cooked again, okay? So you still use the stove, but you knew not to touch it because it was hot. So we're arming you with the weapon of awareness. So you know that these things are all happening out there. Talking about home invasions, tag sales, okay, garage sales. Many of us want to get rid of a lot of the junk that we have in our houses, especially as you get older. You say to yourself, what am I keeping all these dust collectors for? So you have a tag sale. Well, while you're selling this cup for 25 cents, you've left your back door open or whatever. They're going through your back door and into your home. So be very, very, very careful. Make sure that all the doors are locked when you are having a tag sale, and you just have what you have in the driveway out there, so they can't access your home. Anything more on that one? No? Okay. Let's talk about sweetheart scams. I found this outside. I have to return it. It's one of those dollar books. And it's how I gamed online dating to beat my match. Okay? Now, as old as we are, we all like company. And we all like to go out to dinner with somebody, go to the movies with somebody. A lot of people are going online and finding love. Okay? A lot of people are. But the scam artists know that. And especially with older people, they are finding this to be very lucrative. And they're putting fake pictures online and, just fake identity. And people who are lonely are being conned. And then they come in for the kill, okay? And then they start asking for money. We had a woman in my town who had $200,000 she sent to scam artist. She sent to someone she met online. And this is not unusual, because I work with police officers all over Connecticut, and I've heard so many war stories about online scams, online sweetheart scams. So if you have friends or you are on the computer looking for love, beware, be careful. Make sure you know exactly who you're talking to. If somebody starts asking you for money, it ain't love.
Thank you. Pete, did you want to add to the?
I mean, we've talked a bit about telephone scams, but there's an even more dangerous one now. How many of you are on Facebook? How many of you look up all of your relatives' names and birth dates and birthplaces and living arrangements on Facebook? A lot of people do. A lot of people do, and they're the people that Angela and Tom have been talking about. And that's where they get the information. The information that you post on the social networks is totally public, and anybody can look at it. And again, not trying to scare you, but that's one of the sources where a lot of this information comes from. Another source that you need to be very cautious about is not a phone call anymore, it's an email. And the email may come from irs.gov. And it may say, click on this link, irs.gov, to learn more. That's a scam. That's not where you're going to be taken. You're going to be taken to somewhere else. If you're not expecting that email, very like the telephone, if you're not expecting the email, trash the email. If it's from someone legitimate, they'll try again. But if it's something you didn't expect from a source you don't really know, trash that email immediately. Do not, please do not click on any links that are in that email. They could be easily very, very phony and take you to strange places. Or open any attachments, exactly. Thank you, Tom. Because these are the things that will get you in very deep. Now, the last thing I want to mention in this electronic area is texting. We're all getting more and more used to texting on our phones. There are phony texts that are coming in saying, please reply, or please give me this information. This is so-and-so at VP at your bank, and we need to verify the following account number. These are now called smishing. It used to be called by another term, but because it's short message service, SMS, it's called smishing. So be very cautious about texts. So we're really saying be cautious about knocks on the door, telephone rings, email, text, and develop what my generation never had. Many of you are of my generation. I'm the token elder up here. And that is we were trusting. We trusted authority. We trusted telephone calls. Nobody here can remember, but we trusted telegrams. And because of that, we are more easily made prey because of our trust. And what we have to do is reverse that trust. We have to become more suspicious.
Like I was saying, if it's a law enforcement agency or a legitimate business that's trying to get in touch with you, they're going to be patient. They're not going to be forceful. They'll answer any questions that you have. So like Pete was saying, be suspicious of everything, whether it's an email, a text message, a phone call. Just have a heightened suspicion level and work on breaking down that suspicion and realizing, okay, is this something that I can trust or not? Just ask as many questions as you possibly can. And like I said, you'll find they'll end up hanging up on you. You won't even have to hang up on them if it gets that far. Because they'll realize quickly, all right, I'm not going to get anywhere. I'm not going to be able to scam them, so I'm just wasting my time. They want to hang up and get back on to the next easy target. So don't let yourself become an easy target. Make it more difficult for these scammers out there. Pete mentioned he mentioned smishing. Another issue that's plaguing New Canaan is actually mail phishing in the mailbox. And so from this, they're able to then commit all sorts of types of identity theft and bank fraud. In a lot of the area towns, the postal workers are finding in the mailboxes devices. It can be a water bottle that's been wrapped with duct tape, but the sticky side out, and a string attached to it. They literally drop this into the mailbox, mail sticks to it, they pull it out. It's checks, it's bank statements, it's a wealth of information that they then use to commit all types of fraud. So we're working with the postal inspectors. The suggestion right now is if you're mailing something, go inside. Go inside and mail it inside. And or find the times that the collections are picked up at the boxes and mail it around that time. Also, be alert and aware and help us if you see anybody that's kind of acting suspicious at a mailbox, because it could be during the daytime or it could be at night. But if somebody's fooling around or messing around with the mailbox, call the police. Let us know. It's happening here in New Canaan. It's happening at a lot of the different boxes. There's been a lot of mail that we're discovering through this mail phishing. They're committing bank fraud and check fraud and credit card fraud.
The other thing is many of us still don't bank online, okay? So we still, like on Sunday nights, sit at the dining room table or at the desk and fill out the check, you know, put the stamp on the envelope and bring it to the mailbox. Put the little flag up and go to bed, okay? Well, you can't do that anymore because they will go. Now, criminals pick their prey. They've been watching you. They watch that this is your pattern, okay? Now, they can get a whole lot of information on the computer, on you, on the internet, because there's a lot of information about you. They'll know your kids, how old they are, where they live, the whole bit, okay? And they just need maybe just one more thing so that they can assume your identity. Now, that may be in your mailbox. So Sunday night while you're snoozing or watching American Idol or whatever, they're in your mailbox. They see the little flag up. They figure, they've probably got their American Express bill in there, whatever. They've got your check. They've got your routing number. They've got your bank. They also have your signature, okay? They have just about everything all together so that they can actually assume your identity. So please do not put your mail in your mailbox to be picked up by the mailman with the little flag up, because that is truly a red flag to criminals.
It definitely is. It's literally a red flag. Don't make it easy for them. They're looking for the easy way out. That's why they're crooks. They're just looking to just find an easy target. And we need to do as much as we can to not make ourselves easy targets. That's one of the easiest ways, is to just put your mail in the mailbox, raise that red flag. You've just made it so easy for them. So definitely not recommended to mail anything through your own personal mailbox.
Sandy brought these. It's a Tell a Friend flyer. And just one thing that I did want to bring out to you with PIN numbers. Now today, everything is a PIN number. You have a PIN number for everything. You know, the dog insurance, you have a PIN number. Okay? Everything has a PIN number. But the most important PIN number is the one that you use for your debit card, okay? That you use for your banking. Everyone wants to remember that. So the most used numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4. If you have 1, 2, 3, 4 as your PIN number, go down to your bank tomorrow morning, okay, and change it. Because if anyone ever finds your card, guess what? It's the first one that they're going to check. They're going to try to use 1, 2, 3, 4. The other one that they're going to try to use, and especially if your wallet is with the card, the bank card, they're going to use anything that can be associated with you, whether it's your address, it could be the last 4 numbers of your Social Security, it could be your year, your birth date, whatever. Anything that can be associated with you, please change. Now, you're saying to yourself, I'm never going to remember those 4 numbers, okay? Pick something that only you know the association. And it could be like, for instance, your mother's birth date. You know, only you know it and your siblings, okay? It could be your eldest child's birth date. It could be your anniversary, okay? That you can almost write down, like my ANN, okay? And you remember that maybe you were married in 1956, so your number could be 1956. But no one, unless they truly, truly know you, would be able to associate those four numbers with you. So if you have anything that can be associated with you, or 000, whatever, anything easy, please, tomorrow morning go down to the bank and change it. Okay, we're going to turn this over to you because you've got some really interesting stuff to talk about.
Before I do, let me mention one more thing. Thank you, Tom. I think the battery died. One more thing, and that is Medicare cards. You all know that you will be receiving new Medicare cards. That's going to be a prime target for people picking your mail. Medicare.gov is a wonderful website, and it will tell you Medicare cards are being sent out state by state, 2 or 3 states at a time. And on Medicare.gov, there is a map right on the front page saying these are the states currently shipping Medicare cards. Wait until you see Connecticut to start thinking about it, but when you see Connecticut, monitor your mail very, very carefully, because that will be the month your new Medicare card is coming, and that's going to be a very valuable card for them to steal. I want to switch gears now, if I may, for just a moment. One of the original purposes here was to try to help all of us educate our elder relatives. Well, some of our elder relatives are here in the audience tonight, and I hope we're educating them. But let me spend just a moment as the token elder of how do you talk to an older person? Many of you may identify this, you may argue with me, but you need to be a little more patient when you're talking to an older person. We're touchier than we used to be, and we don't take instruction well at all. When you tell us we should do this or we should do that, more likely we're going to give a reaction to that. But let me give you a clue or two. Number one, you sometimes need to talk more slowly with us. Our hearing isn't as good as it used to be. You need to be a little more patient with us because maybe it'll take a few more seconds for it to register. You need to be speaking very clearly. Don't be condescending, please. Don't treat us like 3-year-olds. We're not 3-year-olds. Be a partner to us, not a teacher. Laugh whenever you can. I mean, this is a serious subject, but there's no reason we have to treat it that seriously. And finally, one of the things that I think might help a bit here is, and I don't mean to insult anyone in the audience here, but one of the things I think us older folk love is gossip. I think we love gossip. And I don't know if you heard about Gladys Johnson over in Ridgefield. Some of you may know Gladys Johnson over in Ridgefield. But she got a call 4 or 5 weeks ago, and a very pleasant man, speaking excellent English, told her she had won second prize in a Jamaican lottery for $7.2 million. Well, the 7.2 and the million unfortunately made her logic drift away. And before very long, he had talked her into the fact that all she had to do to claim this was pay the taxes and fees. Well, you can see where this is going. Fortunately, Gladys only lost a few $1,000s. But you need to note that it's illegal for an American to play a foreign lottery unless you're in that foreign country. Secondly, you can't win a lottery or prize you never entered.
It's absolutely the truth. I mean, and this goes with everything here. You have to have had initiated the contact, whether it's phone or email or text or somebody at your house. if it's unsolicited, you need to just be just so suspicious and just question it, because there's bad people out there that are looking to take advantage of all of us.
I just want to tell you a story that happened up where I live. A woman came, it was raining. Woman came to the door. She had sort of, what do you call those things that doctors wear? Lab coat. Okay, so she looked like she was a medical person. And she went to the woman's door. She knocked on the door and she said, "My car is stuck." She said, "And I have to call my home." She said, "And my battery is gone on my cell phone." She said, "Could I please use your phone?" Well, growing up in the age that we grew up in, the woman opened the door and said, "Please, please come in, get out of the rain." She came in, she made a phone call, left. The next day, the woman realized that her purse was gone. Okay? So you really, really have to be careful. These people do not always look like the Frito Bandito. Okay? They don't look like a criminal. Okay? They look like you and I. Okay? So just be careful. Somebody comes to the door and says, "I've got to use your phone." Tell them, "Give me the number through the door." Okay? You don't open that door. Give me the number. I'll be happy to make a phone call for you. If it's raining, too bad. Okay? That's the world today. I'm really sorry to tell you. You have to be really, really careful.
I just had one thing I wanted to add about the Medicare cards. Medicare will not call you and ask you to verify information before they mail the card to you. If you get a call and they say they're from Medicare and they need to verify your home address and your social security number to send you the card, please hang up and let the police know that you've gotten that call, because that is not something that they will do.
Yeah, if I could just add, if you do find yourself to be a victim, there's no embarrassment, there's no being ashamed. It happens to everybody. You come and report it to the police department so that we're aware of it and so that we can get the word out what the latest scam is that might be going on out there. And that just helps us to educate everybody else and hopefully prevent somebody else from falling victim of the new type of scam, because it's just ever evolving. There's going to be something new that we haven't even covered, probably happening tomorrow. And that's where just having to remain that heightened awareness and that suspicion of everything really comes into play, because we might not have covered what the next scam is. We don't know what it is yet, but they're working on it right now. And if you didn't call them or text them or email them, then chances are it might be a scam or a fraud, and they're just looking to take advantage of you. New Canaan's a very safe town. The police department is out there, and we patrol, and we're available. But the criminals also know that it can be sometimes an easy target here in town. One of the things that we were dealing with a lot was the stolen vehicles, and that was mainly people being letting themselves become an easy target by leaving their car doors unlocked and leaving the keys in the car. We had over 20 stolen vehicles last year, which is unheard of for New Canaan. But what happened was word got out to all the criminals that, hey, we keep scoring in New Canaan, let's just keep going back to New Canaan, because everybody's comfortable in their environment here and they feel safe, as you should. But people are letting themselves become easy targets. And in people reporting it, we were able to get the word out through social media and the newspaper for everybody to take their car keys, lock their car doors, and we have since stopped that. So anytime you become a victim of anything, identity theft, fraud, a scam, please come and report it to the police department. We'll get you a case number. We'll give you an identity theft packet for you to complete. That case number you can use for if it's a credit card charge or anything like that. You'd have a case number for you to report to any your bank or credit cards, and there's sometimes we might be able to recover some of the funds, however it might have been. So there are sometimes some things that we can do. So please, if you do fall victim, don't be embarrassed. Contact the police department. We're there, ready, and to help you.
Yeah, at the AARP, we call it the courage to call. You may or may not get something back, as Tom says, but you may definitely help prevent someone else from being had. So if you want to be a really good citizen, report it, have the courage to call. The police department will be right on it.
Great, thank you. I'd like to open it up to questions from the floor now, if anyone has any.
I have actually a question for the police officer, and if I were 10 years younger, I could read your name and address you by name. Officer Thomas Patton. This occurred to us recently, and I think it's a real security issue. We went away for a couple of weeks, and as you should do, stopped our mail. The mail carrier, when I got back, I checked our mailbox, had left the card I filled out that said when we would be returning home in our mailbox. So should I start over again, or? You heard me? I did speak with a representative at the Camp Avenue post office when I went to collect our mail, and that person did speak with our mail carrier, who said, well, she always does it that way. So I would like to suggest that perhaps someone from the police department could have a conversation with someone from the post office and the Camp Avenue office, and they could then train their carriers not to do that.
Absolutely. I've been in touch with one of the postal investigators with the whole mail phishing issue that's going on. So I will certainly follow up with that. Another suggestion as far as with mail and vacation, one of the services that we offer if you're going to be gone for an extended period of time is our closed house list. So if you're going to be gone for more than a week, you can let us know, and on a weekly basis, we will actually do a check of your house, do a cursory walk around the outside, checking doors and making sure that there's been no forced entry or anything. But what I would also recommend is neighbors. Get to know your neighbors, and stopping the mail is a good thing, but sometimes packages get delivered, newspapers, and if you communicate with your neighbors and look for some assistance from them and maybe collecting some of them and just keeping an eye and letting them know that, hey, nobody should be at my house while we're gone. If you see anybody, call the police. If it ends up being a harmless thing, I'd much rather go out to somebody's house and find that it's just a harmless thing than not know and it ends up being something else.
No, Kathy, you can stop, and everybody, you can stop your mail online, and it's really easy. And if you make a mistake, you can even go back in and change the date, and they send you an email back and forth. You don't have to. You don't have to go to the post office, fill out a card, just do it all online.
Hello, speaking. I received an email from my bank, Chase Bank, absolutely perfect logo, everything was Chase, asking for my account information. Well, being smarter than the average bear, I called my bank, and they say, no, we will send you a letter, but we never email you. So I tried calling the FBI to report this, and they said, well, you didn't lose any money, and there's nothing we can do. So.
Unfortunately, it's just everybody's been inundated with it, and the FBI's, it's going to have to be probably quite a high dollar value for them to get involved. And, no monetary loss. It's difficult. There's a lot of other cases that they're probably working that are more serious. So that's not an uncommon occurrence. You can report it to us.
My bank was very good.
Yep. But see, that was one of the suggestions that we were talking about is you followed that email up with a phone call to your bank. They're very good at copying the logos and making it look as if it's coming from the bank. Businesses are dealing with what's called the business email compromise, where they will replicate emails to look like it's coming from the actual executive. And what they'll do is they'll change, like, say, the letter L to a 1 in the email, and like an accountant or somebody, they're thinking they're actually corresponding with the executive, and they're saying, hey, we need to wire this money to this account. They weren't paid in time, and people are falling for it, and that's the email phishing that goes on as well. They try every attempt to make it look good, and other than taking it and slowing it down and verifying by other means is really the only way.
Speaking to the email frauds, I've seen several come through my inbox. And if you look at the URL of the source of the email, and it's not wellsfargo.com or chase.com, but it's some variant of that, isn't that a sufficient tip-off that this mail gets deleted?
Yeah, this is a very common technique that they use. They will show the URL in the email that you click on, and it'll say wellsfargo.com. But if you hover your mouse over it, it says somewhere in Jamaica. So don't click on links. No bank is going to send you an email saying click on the link. And I deal with several banks. I got one today saying there was an important message. Please log on to my account and check my mail at the bank. And that's the way they will do it.
Yeah, a woman I know got a call from someone who said they were from Microsoft, and they had detected a problem with their latest version of the software that will allow someone to hack into their system. And all she had to do was to key in a couple of commands. She actually keyed in what they told her to, and then the guy said, "We now have control of your machine, and it's $900, and we'll give it back to you."
We just had someone lose $9,200 with that scam. 9,200.
There's a theme of establishing trust or where not to trust in everything that you all have said. And I'm sure that most of us now in this audience have learned a lot, but I guess my greatest concern are the folks that are not here and what is being done to make sure we constantly remind them. I have a 91-year-old mother that I have to constantly remind her not to do certain things, the things you've talked about here. But it seems like we've got a tremendous burden here to get the word out and continue to do that. It's worrisome, yeah. But that's part of the responsibility we all have, isn't it?
Part of the responsibility that we all have, yes. Certainly, I hope that you all share some of the information that you've received tonight with your friends, because it is so important to get this word out.
Okay, I have time for 2 more questions. There's one here.
This is an experience. I get frequent emails from college classmates with whom I have not had contact for 20, 30, 40 years. And my reaction is that their address list has been hacked. And some wise person, maybe it was Pete, said, obviously you don't respond to them, and if you want to give them a heads up, call them.
Absolutely. Do not respond to that email.
Okay, I have actually 2 quick questions. One is I never give my Social Security number out anymore, but is there an approach if you need to give your Social Security number that you can now do? I mean, sometimes you just do the last 4 digits, or is there some other way that you can do that?
Not the last 4 digits. Absolutely not the last 4 digits, because that truly identifies you. Okay? As I said, with PIN numbers, a lot of people use the last 4 digits of their Social Security number as their PIN number. Please do not do that, because that certainly is associates with you. Yes?
But I mean in legitimate situations.
Where you have to give out. You know what? A lot of times you will go to a doctor and it will be on the form, your social security number. They want your social security number. You don't have to give it to them. And I've had people say to me, well, then the doctor isn't going to treat you. And I said, well, you know what? Let me talk to the doctor. You know, I'm sure he's going to treat me, even though I don't want to give you. But guess what? If you're on Medicare, your social security number right now is right there. They've got your Medicare number, and it is your social security number. So, yeah, they're changing that soon. Another question?
Just a quick question.
Sure.
If you do go to those links or open an attachment, what actually happens? If all you do is open?
First of all, don't open the attachment ever. The attachment can be loaded with all sorts of viruses or machine takeover code, and you may not even know it. What some of these attachments do is what's called a keylogger, and it embeds itself in your machine and records every keystroke you make for the next 6 months, including all of your account names, account numbers, passwords, and it sends them off to the con artists. And they will have completely uncovered all of your passwords, all of your account numbers. So never open an attachment that you're not completely sure of, please.
Yes, all of us are aware that with the Equifax hacking, all of our information is out there somewhere. We're hearing these ads all the time right now about home title lock, how people with all this information out there can actually transfer your title to somebody else, and obviously they're implying that they can take your house or borrow against it. How easy or prevalent could that be? You've heard these ads, I assume, for home title lock? It's on the radio all the time, where they...
One of the things that I personally suggest, and I think the AARP backs me up on this, is you can check your credit report for free each year. There are 3 major agencies, so if you check your credit report every 4 months, you will know who is poking at that. If you live in Connecticut, and I believe if you're over 65, you can freeze your credit with all 3 agencies. If it's frozen, nobody can take out new credit, nobody can get a new credit card, nobody can get a mortgage.
I was just wondering about this home title lock, how prevalent it could be, that they make it sound like with all your information, which is out there, they can actually transfer the title of your house to somebody else. I've never even heard of it.
I've never even heard of this.
Well, it's on the radio all the time. It's called home title lock. I'm sure everybody's heard of it. Trying to get you to buy their service to protect your title. And I'm just curious.
I would have to do more research into that. I can say that I'm not aware of any reports that have come into the New Canaan Police Department in regards to any issues with home titles. But I'd have to do more research into that.
I just wanted to thank our panel for coming this evening. Wonderful job. I hope you all walk away having learned something. I apologize, we are going to be wrapping up, but if you do have a question for one of our panelists and you were not able to ask it in the audience, you could come up now after the session. Crystal just wanted to make a few announcements from the library. Have a good evening. Thanks.
And it's actually about this program, so that's what I wanted to say. So if you have a laptop, and we have a lot of clients and patrons who come in who have clicked on something and they've had control taken of their laptop, you can bring your laptop in here. We have open tech twice a week. It is free. Drop-in tech support from 2 to 4 p.m. Bring your laptop in. We've helped lots of clients resolve this problem, and the biggest feedback that we give them is don't give anyone any money. No one will be asking you for that. Also, we run cybersecurity workshops, also free and open to the public. They talk about security passwords, what not to click on, how to make your information more secure online, where you should put your information. You know, we're not the end-all be-all support, but we're happy to try and provide this where we can, of course, in partnership. But we're also another resource. If you're really desperate, please drop in. We have qualified technical experts available all the time. So, Thanks again for everybody. Great
Thank you,
workshop.
everyone, for coming.